All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the weekly meeting. Today, we're going to be talking about why the majority of interns don't get licensed and why you shouldn't either. Catchy title for what we're going to be talking about, but I think it's an important topic to discuss. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen to show you the slides that we're working with here. Somebody could give me a thumbs up that it's visible. Thank you, Casey. All right, so here's our first slide. Again, this slide deck made on Canva. I like to spread the news about this application, very powerful tool to make PowerPoint slides, to make marketing material, door hangers, business cards, whatever it is, you can do it on here. All right, so let's get into it. So again, if you are in a safe situation, please turn your videos on so we can make this an interactive forum. Feel free to ask questions at any time. You can raise your hand or drop a message in the chat box and we'll get around to your question. But yeah, feel free to chime in if you
make my coffee and my bagel.
And yeah, if you have personal experiences that you want to share as well, feel free to do that. All right. I want to congratulate a few people that just joined us at EXP. So we have Dave Ackley, Justin Smith, Zachary Gerard, and Abdul Sisse. If you guys are in the room, do you guys want to chime in with any words of wisdom you have about licensing process, about the tests, anything like that? Feel free to mute yourself and start talking.
Sure. My number one thing with studying for the test was just practice test, like real 100 question test, at least one every single day. I did that for probably a month straight, doing at least 100 question tests a day, usually 2 or 3. So about 300 questions a day. Just memorize every possible question you can so that no matter what they throw at you on the exam, you're probably going to know the answer.
Yeah, that was my experience as well. Just hours of practice tests. It's pretty painful at first because you're still learning the material like when you're going through those practice tests. But yeah, just getting those reps in, eventually it becomes just muscle memory what the answer is. And if you look up the definition of the words that might confuse you, that'll help you to actually understand the material and so you're not just memorizing words. Thank you for that, Justin. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and share. How's my audio here?
A little choppy, but let's see how it works. Go ahead, Dave.
All right, how about now? Is that better?
Yep, a lot better.
Okay, sweet. All right, so I used Prep Agent when I was studying for my exam. I bought the full year subscription, which is like 65, 70 bucks, I believe. And I used that every day for 3 weeks. And I just hammered out practice exams, kind of like just Justin was just saying. And I would just time block that out. So I would do 50 questions, get up for 10, take a break, and then come back and do another 50 questions. And that was just all I was doing. And I was just getting those repetitions in, starting out with the individual topic exams. Like it might allow you to do one, I believe one of the topics was contracts. And then you'll have another one on state specific law, different things of that nature. And then once I started getting 100%, at least 5 times consecutively on each of those, I would then move on and do the like real practice exam that directly mocks the actual exam that you'll take as closely as possible. That was what I did, and I passed pretty easily. But you will also see that on your exams, none of these prep programs will give you any of the same questions, really. It's really just a matter of memorizing all of the vocabulary. I thought of it as a vocabulary exam, so it's really just a matter of memorizing new words, just like you're learning a new language, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you brought up a lot of great points. Yeah, for the one that comes to mind first is what you said about breaking it up and until you hit a certain score and then moving on to the actual exam. Another thing you can do is just like make a game of it and to make it it really makes time go by faster. Instead of just feeling like you're just going through endless questions, you can like time yourself, set a timer, or to just time how long it takes you to complete however many questions, and then write that time down. And the next time, try to beat that time. Whatever method works for you, you can make a game of it to make it a fun process instead of just hammering out questions. You also just the idea of that there's a recipe to how to get to passing the exam. A lot of people have fear of taking exams, and they think like, oh, I just got to read every single word in the textbook that they provided me. I have to do every YouTube video about real estate. I have to do everything just to maybe pass a test. But there's already two people right here, and myself, as well as many people in the past, who can attest that going through the practice questions over and over again will get you there. After that, it's really just a matter of getting your mind right and just believing that you can pass the test, that it is in the realm of possibility to pass it on the first time. You don't have to fail it and then study some more for another 6 months and then try to do it again. I appreciate that, Dave. And how long is that membership? How much was the price and the duration of the membership?
Yeah, I bought a full year membership of Prep Agent, and I believe I paid $65 or $70 for it, which is well worth it considering each time you have to take the exam is $100.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a great point.
They
Sorry, go ahead.
they do a pretty good military discount too through Prep Agent.
Awesome. Can you, if you guys can drop the link for Prep Agent, if there's any kind of reference you have for that military discount as well, if you drop that in the chat box so everyone else can see it. All right. Anybody else?
I'm looking it up now.
Thank you. Yeah, and like Casey said in the chat box, it's all right to fail and try again. It's not a typical military test that we are all used to. Yeah, it's very. I'm one of those people that struggles with tests. I studied mechanical engineering in college, and when I was taking a test on engines in flight school, I failed it because I just overthought a bunch of the questions. And one of the questions that blew my mind how I answered it, I basically said that engines produce fuel. And it's just the way that the question was worded. After failing the test and then going over it with my instructor, he was like, what happened here? And I was just like, I don't even know. So I was just inside my own head. And it's just a matter of, preparing, putting that time in so you feel prepared, taking some deep breathers, getting to the test location on time, having a good night of rest the night before, all that stuff. All right. So we'll jump into the topic for today. And again, feel free to drop questions in the chat box. It's going to be a pretty brief topic, and I'm going to give you some tools you guys can mess around with that you can use in the future when you're interacting with clients and convincing them that it is okay to buy a property, that you don't need to be a renter your entire life. So like I said, the topic of today's class is why the majority of interns don't get licensed and why you shouldn't either. So if you don't want to have peace of mind when you're exiting the military, if you don't want to benefit from the freedom to do whatever you want as far as like your schedule. For example, I went to the sandbar last Friday from basically noon onward, clocked out. I didn't have to ask for permission. So if you don't want to live a lifestyle where you're your own boss, if you want to continue, you want to jump from one chain of command to another and have somebody, your supervisor, telling you when you can spend family time, when you can go on vacation, all that stuff, then do not get your license while you're in the program. Yes, you can always get your license afterward and attain success, but the likelihood of that happening drops significantly. So right now you're on this end of the chart right here. You're feeling good, whether you're retiring or getting out after 3 years, whatever it is, you're feeling pretty good. Like you have this new future ahead of you, kind of the jump into the unknown, but you're excited about it. Not really worried about much because, you know, whether you already have some kind of plan of like what's going to happen next, you're going to go back and stay with your parents or travel the world, whatever it is, you're excited. And so you're not really stressed out right now. On average, it takes people 8 months to get into production. So if this is you at this end of the chart and you're in the program for 6 months, that puts you 2 months after getting out, you'd be in production. In production, meaning you're working with clients, you know, maybe closing a deal right after you get out. And so that's the average. If you get after it and you're out there hustling, making it known that you're licensed and in the real estate business, this line can shift to the left. It can be, you can have a transaction close the day you get out, multiple transactions, which is what I walked into because I put in the 14, 16-hour days while I was still active in the SkillBridge program so that I could have peace of mind as I exited the military. And God completely blessed us with that exit. There was no stress at all as we were transitioning out of the military. However, if you push that line down the road, if you're like, you know what, I'm just going to enjoy my time. I'm going to do some training online. I don't want to get licensed. I want to hold off until after I'm out of the military because I can't even earn money while I'm still in the program. I can't earn commissions because of the way the SkillBridge rules are. And so you put it off. Now you're pushing into this area over here. You got stress about, I still got bills, I still got a mortgage or rent or whatever it is to pay. Pressure from the family, from perceived pressure that's not even there about, people are looking at me and they're like, hey, this guy just got out of the military, now he's going to go down the tubes. All these different thoughts that start to pollute your mind and kind of change your mind from excited about the new chapter, going to start this new profession and kill it, to I just need to get a job. And the job is an acronym for just over broke. And so you start shift to that mindset and you're like, all right, I just got to pay the bills. I got to get something that has medical coverage, whatever. And I'm not going to pursue this dream that I had of becoming a realtor. And yeah, change overall, just going from the network of friends that you had, all those resources, to, just establishing that new tribe that you hang out with. And so the likelihood of you getting into production after you get out drops significantly. And so you may have heard the statistic about the Pareto principle, where 80% of people in the real estate business don't make it past their, second, third year. It applies even more if you're, transitioning out of the military, at all that pressure that comes along with that, and trying to get licensed and do all that other stuff while, adapting to a new lifestyle. Anyone have any questions, contributions, personal experience with that? The common objection is, is somebody going to say something?
Oh yeah, it's me, Casey again. Yeah, so personally, I've been doing a lot of open houses and stuff since I joined in December, and I am still, let's say, I have like maybe 4 or 5 leads that are active. So it's not looking like I'm going to be able to close like right when I leave in February, but it's going to be close. But that's after like a month of like working hard, calling people, doing a lot of open houses like is suggested. And I find those a lot easier than cold calls, because the people that walk in are kind of at least halfway interested in what's going on. But when I just call people out of the blue, the number one question I get is like, how'd you get this number? And that doesn't, start off very well. So, but yeah, so I think by like March, I should have my first closing. So that's about 2 months before. So yeah, I can confirm that it's not just going to walk into a bunch of money right when it happens. So of course I'm in Indiana and it's not super popular. So you know,
Thank you for sharing that. But every area has its own challenges. So out here in Hawaii, you think, lovely place to live. Everybody wants to buy a place here. And so do the other 6,000 agents that are out here. So my problem is that I throw a rock and I hit a realtor walking down the street. So what's the difference between, like, how do I differentiate myself from that realtor? And getting licensed sooner rather than later, building that experience, learning from mistakes, figuring out what works for you. Like if prospecting, if cold calling people doesn't work for you, try something else, go door knocking. If door knocking doesn't work for you, do social media. If that doesn't work for you, eventually you'll figure it out. But that figuring out is a lot easier to do while you're still in the military, still receiving that comfy paycheck, the housing allowance, all that stuff, compared to when you're out, no paychecks. Maybe you get some VA disability check or you're using your GI Bill, whatever, but there's a lot more stress added when you don't know when that next payment's going to come in. So yeah, if you do not want that peace of mind, then don't get licensed. If you do want peace of mind, get your license, start getting after it, start learning, etc. Any other contributions? Thank you, Casey, for that. All right. And feel free to drop any questions in the chat box. So I'm going to drop a Excel file that I made recently. The reason I made this Excel file was because some of you guys may have heard of Grant Cardone. He does some of the training in the EXP world, and he's also like a real estate investor. Was a realtor back in the day, but now he's just kind of like a celebrity type figure. But one of the things he said was, when you're doing negotiations, you want to write down, you want to show the person the numbers, kind of like we talked about a few weeks ago. Like you don't want to just randomly throw out these numbers. Oh, hey, yeah, you can afford this home because it's gonna, if you use this number to calculate how much your monthly payment's going to be, it'll be affordable and it'll work out. And they're just like, what did you just say? I still am terrified of buying a home. But if you provide them with numbers and show that, it's like the example of this file I'm dropping in the box. If you show them the numbers and send them this Excel file and just explain to them, here, take a look at this file that I made for you. You can see that I didn't put any kind of crazy coding to make you think that you should buy a house even though you can't afford it. You can click around in it, adjust the numbers however you want, and they'll see that it makes perfect sense for them to buy. And especially if renting, like we talked about the last time I taught you guys, the rent goes straight down. That's the guaranteed loss that they're paying every month. Whereas if they buy a house, it's the complete opposite direction with the appreciation, with the equity. You don't usually want to sell people on appreciation because nobody knows what the market's going to do, and you don't want to claim to know. You can show them the stats from previous years, which you'll have access to in MLS. But you don't want to say, oh, well, we're forecasting a 50% jump in property value. But you can tell them, this is where you're going to be at the bottom of that chart. If you rent for the next 3, 5, 10 years, because a lot of times people are like, oh, I'm going to fill it out for a year. But then you want to express to them, okay, you're going to fill it out for a year, but your kids are just starting high school and you're renting a house that's right next to their favorite high school, and they're not going to want to change schools because it's going to go to a different district. Like all these things that will cement them in that rental home that they're looking at. Just it's important to convey to them that waiting it out is just procrastinating, kicking the can down the road, burning up more money to rent. Did everyone get that file I dropped in there? All right, so yeah, it's an Excel spreadsheet. If you have a Mac, you should be able to open it up. Still, you might need to do some adjustments with the calculations because the conversion is kind of weird, but you can see in that you can do different tabs. You can put like I said, put it on the name of the file. You can put the name of the client there to make it like customized for them. put the price, you can see in the file that there's tabs for different price ranges. And what I did is I did what it looks like for renting for 3 years, what it looks like for buying a townhome and owning it for 3 years, and then a slightly higher priced townhome, and then a single family home. And the reason I did that is because a lot of times people, they don't understand that if they buy a $500,000 townhome that has $1,000 HOA, they're paying $1,000 a month towards their HOA. That's killing about $200,000 of their buying power. And so they see 500K, they're like, yeah, it's a much more comfortable number. I can work with that. And they see 700,000 or 800,000. They're like, no, that's insane. That's way too big of a number for me. But it's the same amount of money coming out of their bank account every month. However, single family home is getting them more equity because the HOA, kind of like rent, landlords will not give you a refund on your rental money, and the homeowner association is not going to give you a refund on your homeowner association payments. So just another thing to keep in your pocket when you're helping people to decide between those different situations. Anyone have any contributions for that? All right. And the last thing I wanted to talk to you guys about today is things that you could be doing right now while you're prepping for the license. You do your practice test reps, get those in every day, and then you're just completely burnt out. You're like, I do not want to do another practice test. Some of you may have heard of this crazy new program called ChatGPT. Anyone heard of that? I mean, we all have our different beliefs on the technology behind that, but it's definitely a powerful tool. There's no denying that. What I've been using it for lately is making blogs. So my mentor, actually, I did kind of a weird thing where I had a mentor and I was on a team. But my mentor was really big on blogs when I first got licensed, and I was just like, I've never read a blog. I don't see the point in doing that. So I'm not going to make any blogs. And my website was crap, and I didn't do any blogs because I just didn't feel like writing, because writing takes me forever. But on this new program, you can go in here for your local area, create blogs about whatever you want. So let's see, Robert Chandler's over in South Carolina. So you can say, write me, everyone can see my screen, right? All right. Write me a blog about the best, what town are you in, Robert?
Charleston.
To visit in Charleston. So boom, here's my blog. And if you don't like how it's written, you can, once it's done writing, you can hit the button right here to rewrite it. You can put, it's all it is really a matter of learning how to ask the questions. So if I want it shorter, right, say rewrite this shorter, or write it in a script format because I want to make a YouTube video talking about the best places to visit in Charleston. And it's just a really mind-blowing tool that you can use to start building content. So right now this program is free. I'm sure within the next month or so they're going to start charging people. Once they get people hooked on how good of a tool it is, they're going to be like, hey, it's $50 a month. And probably most people will pay it. I'll be on the fence whether or not I commit to that, but a really powerful tool that you can use. Because, and again, going back to getting your license sooner rather than later, you won't be able to, work on your website until you're licensed on. So KB Core is where you work on your website. And again, this is all stuff that you can do while you're, like figuring out like who's going to be your niche, what kind of prospecting are you going to do, all that stuff. You can be working on these things to start getting ready for when you get it out, and you don't want to be wasting time working on your website. You want to be out there talking to clients. watching those commission checks come in. But yeah, so on here, once you make those blogs, you just go in here, drop them in your blog posts. I'm still figuring out how the blog posts link to other social media sites, but I do know that depending on how the wording you put in there, and you can also embed links within the wording, so that if I talk about the best beaches to visit in Hawaii, it'll show up on Pinterest when somebody searches Hawaii beaches or whatever. So you can see I have a good amount of views on these right here. And yeah, like I said, you can also, so write me a script for the best restaurants in Charleston. Write me a script, and again, like learning the questions to ask. Write me a script for a social media video on, and scroll down, and there it is. It tells you exactly what to do. Put in some intro music, do a voiceover of a snapshot of Charleston. Welcome to Charleston, South Carolina, a city renowned for its rich history. It takes the thinking out of it. It's pretty crazy tool to work with, but yeah, I wanted to show you guys that. And that's pretty much all I have for today. We're coming up on the 30-minute point. Anyone have questions about anything? Anyone coming up on taking a test soon? Need some final words of wisdom?
I'm taking mine Friday.
Nice. Excited?
Yeah, and nervous because I overthink everything. So trying not to do that. Yeah.
Something that's really helped me with calming my nerves when I get like that is, have you heard of Wim Hof?
No.
So he has these breathing techniques on YouTube. I'll drop his name in the chat box, but yeah, it's just like a 10-minute where he's just telling you, like, breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth, hold your breath, whatever. And it helps because just getting that, like, flooding your brain with oxygen and all that stuff, it helps to just get rid of those nerves that you're feeling and just feel like you're in the zone, ready to crush that test.
Yeah. I was also wondering, in that chat GT, what would be an example of what you would put in there for, like, real estate? Would you just talk about yourself or the house, or?
Yeah, it's a great question. Here, I'll show you an example. What are 3 things write me a blog, or you can do video, whatever you want to do, on the 3 things every buyer should know before purchasing a home. Where you lived on?
In Vacaville, California?
In Vaca, is that one word, Vacaville?
Yes.
Vacaville, California. Boom, there it is.
Okay.
Friendly city. And so here's the 3 things that's pointing out: real estate market, it's competitive, fast-paced, cost of living, affordable cost of living compared to other cities. And so it's just a matter of, yeah, thinking of the question and wording it to receive the result that you're trying to get out of it. And then I'll show you how it switches from stop generating to, you can ask it to rewrite. Maybe not. So I can either like or dislike it right here, or I can just type in rewrite shorter.
Okay. So you really aren't using that to kind of promote yourself as a realtor. You're just kind of putting in information you think people would want to know about the town and stuff like that?
Yeah, because you want to convey to everyone you know that you're the subject matter expert for Vacaville, California.
Okay.
And so when anyone thinks Vacaville, or like moving to California in general, or just real estate, they want to think Don Lewis is the person to talk to. She's going to take care of you. And it's just a matter of tailoring your story. Like, do you want to be the Vacaville expert? Do you want to be the real estate expert? And then just making blogs, videos, social media posts, all that stuff for that.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. All right. Anyone else?
I have a quick question, Zohar.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you use KCM by chance?
No, what is that?
Keeping Current Matters?
What's that for?
It's a program online that is a subscription service that a lot of agents I know in my state use, where they do blog posts and videos and all kinds of things like that to help you keep yourself up to date and educated on what's going on in your specific local market. And everybody says it's great, but I'm kind of trying to find somebody that has experience with a few different membership levels so that I can better determine which one I should utilize.
Yeah.
Because it ranges in price from 30 to 90 a month, which is pretty drastic.
Yeah, that's a great question. But I guess in the meantime, you can use ChatGPT for those kind of topics. But yeah, it looks like a really easy way to stay in the know of what's going on in your area.
Yeah, it's really cool too, because if you have the premium subscription, they have a video app where it will literally put a script on the screen, which you can do through ChatGPT. But what's cool about it is it throws the script up on the screen, and then once you've hit a certain point, it will throw graphics up. Like it might have a graph or an information card or something of that nature, and it automatically does that for you. So it's adding those tables and whatnot without you even having to touch it.
Yeah, that's really helpful tool, because otherwise you're manually going on like iMovie on your Mac. Yeah, it's a huge waste of time.
Yeah,
the tools like that will save you. It's like having a virtual assistant do it for you.
Right. Yeah, I did get a code, which I'll share in the chat here in a second, that will give you a full month free. So I'm going to just give it a shot with the premium and see how that goes, because it seems like it could potentially save you enough time to make it worth 90 a month, especially getting started.
Yeah,
Good way
definitely.
to get out there.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's another thing right there, that all the money for all these extra things that are out there that will save you time, but if you don't get licensed before you're out, it's just gonna, when you think about, all right, am I gonna add another thing to my budget? Like, I'm not making any money right now, can I afford this? You're gonna say no, and then that's just gonna further decrease your chances of making it in this new profession. But if you're already producing, you're like, all right, I got 3 closings next week, I'm gonna get a paycheck for like 15K off of those. I can afford $90 a month to boost my business and save time. Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Dave. And you made me think of this other website that I just signed up for. It's called HomeBot, and so I was on the Monday morning mastermind, and everybody was referencing HomeBot like it's like Facebook, like everybody has it. And so I looked into it, and it's a pretty powerful tool. It basically, what it does, you can plug in all your database in there, so all your buyers, your sellers, and for your buyers, after they bought a home, it'll keep you top of mind with them automatically. So it'll send them a monthly email. You can like adjust the settings, send them a monthly email saying, hey, this is what your house is worth. This is how much you paid towards your principal, your interest. This is what you would get if you sold right now. All these things that it would take you hours to try to do that for, even one client, boom, automatically for every one of your clients every month. Yeah, so I dropped the link in the chat. So another thing to check out there. And it's $75 for the initial startup fee, and then $25 a month after that. I think there's other upgrades you can get, but I'm just doing the basic for now. I'm just quickly looking through the questions in the chat. So we got Tamika's question answered about number of questions. In Hawaii, it was 85 for the state and 85 for national. Looks like other states have different numbers. Any other questions from anyone before we wrap up the show? All righty. And Dave, if you want to drop that in here, or if you want to drop it in the general channel in Slack, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, I
Thank
just
you.
dropped that. I'll go ahead and drop it in Slack as well.
Okay, sweet.
Sweet.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I just said thank you for your time.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for coming. Hope you guys have a very productive Tuesday, and feel free to reach out if you need anything.